Or does it anger you to have these people sit up there and play their psychological warfare games on you? You know, the minute you're aware of their playbook, all their games don't work anymore. The minute you're aware of their scams, it's game over. Now, I don't get up here like a cheerleader or like a football coach who really thinks my team is going to lose. But I tell you, you can win because I just don't want you to be embarrassed too bad. If I didn't know, not think, know historically from deep research and in my spirit, in my gut, and intellectually, that not only can we stop the globalists, we can defeat them and build an incredible civilization together. Our greatest days are ahead of us if we wake up out of this television culture of death-induced trance. This 501c3, it's the end of the world, Jesus is coming back, government-financed rapture cult. If we can get past all that garbage, and if you New Agers stop thinking that Nibiru planet Turkey's going to kill us, if you stop having this defeatist attitude and start believing in yourselves, we could turn this civilization around. And if you're Christians out there, don't give me, oh no, it's Scripture. If my people will humble themselves and repent, then I will free them. I mean, you know all those verses, right? What about Nineveh? Jonah going to Nineveh, the 100-year reprieve. And even if it is the end of the world, even if the planet Keebler, Elf, is coming to get us, you still need to stand up against evil and not use it as an excuse to stand down and lay down and not fight corruption. The globalists are not all powerful. They realize the individual has incredible power when you have knowledge, when you have truth, and when you have the will and the courage to execute an operation against the technocrats. I crawled up literally from nowhere. That's why it's an establishment mantra that I'm establishment, and I'm backed by people when it's a complete fraud. Because they don't want you to believe that you can affect change. They don't want you to believe that you have power. I'm somebody, ladies and gentlemen, who was going to community college and about to go to the University of Texas and figured out it was all a big joke and a game, and that they were teaching me RTF information from a decade before that was worthless. So I went down and did an Access television show. I found a place, and it took me over a decade to get to where we are now. Think of where we'll be in a few years. We're growing exponentially. And it's the same example of where we came with Ron Paul. Ron Paul, 30 years ago, was a voice in the libertarian wilderness. But the system was so scared of him that they tried to get him to join them, just like they tried to get one of his colleagues to join them. His name, you may have heard of it, is Alan Greenspan, who wrote books against the New World Order, the world government, and the Federal Reserve, and called for a gold currency. Now, when he was in Congress 16, 17 years ago, Ron Paul couldn't get one co-sponsor for his End the Fed legislation. Last year it passed the House. They used the corrupt Senate to kill it. They're so scared now that they're going to be able to pass it in the House and Senate as the economy implodes and as the people recognize who was behind this, that they've now fraudulently set up a super Congress for the interim so that Rand Paul can't introduce legislation to get rid of the Fed or audit it. And so Ron Paul can't, he can't introduce that now technically, because of the super Congress. But you're like, oh, well, see, they're tyrants. Yes, and we force them to uncloak. To use a cheesy Star Trek analogy, we force the Klingon vessel to uncloak to fire. They uncloaked. There they are. I mean, you think in a fight you're just going to go up and win the first punch? You have to make the enemy show themselves. You have to run up against them to expose their weaknesses. You have to run up against them so they can smash you. And so others see you being smashed and have courage to stand up. You see, I don't believe that if I'm destroyed, that's going to scare people. That's going to cause people to see the fact that I stood up and resisted these people. That's going to cause you to rise up. See, people think I'm here trying to scare folks. It's the opposite. I'm coming from my truthful perspective, how I see things. And when somebody tells me about tyranny and proves that somebody wants to enslave my family and take my liberty and my property and my freedom and my destiny, I get angry and want to fight them. So I treat you like you're Alex Jones. I imagine you're just like I am, red-blooded. And I come to you and I don't mince words and I tell you what's going on and I show you the proof. And I break it down for you in the belief and in the heartfelt conviction that when you finally wake up out of your trance and face what you're dealing with, that you'll decide on the only course that's available. Because these globalists aren't giving us quarter. They're not just trying to enslave us. The enslavement is a means to an end. They want to exterminate us in every one of their seminal documents. Foundational, in every one of their canons, in every one of their tomes. And see, that's the one thing they have on us, is that good people tend to be blind to evil. It took me over a decade to really believe the globalists' own statements. It took me a long time to really face just how wicked and evil these people are. It took me a very, very long time to even be able to deal with this myself and to realize there's no future if I don't fully commit myself to this and have no fear. You know, I have no fear of being killed or being destroyed or being imprisoned or tortured or lied about, my character assassinated. I only have fear that I will not live up to the challenge, that I will fail you and my family. Because there is no future if we don't beat these people. And it's the minute you realize that, it is the second that that light bulb goes off in your heart, your soul, your intellect, your spirit. It's the minute that you decide to not play mind games with yourself. And, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, whatever. Oh, some of what that guy says is true. And, yeah, a lot of it's come true, but I just can't believe it's that bad. The minute you stop being in denial, the minute you stop being a 3-year-old psychologically. See, 3-year-olds think they can change reality by imagining. The minute you understand you're not going to get out of this, none of us are going to get out of this unless we face just how serious the threat is. Was it Patrick Henry said? We'll try to pull up the quote. You know, I would know the truth no matter how bad and make preparation for it. Now, when we come back, I haven't even gotten to the news yet. Incredible economic news. The mainstream media admits they're targeting Ron Paul, demonizing him, and trying to ignore him. Rick Perry news. It's all coming up, and your phone calls. Stay with us. I'm wound up.
What you're about to hear are the real experiences of women over 40 who finally lost weight by becoming hormonally balanced again.
I lost 20 pounds.
I lost 40 pounds.
I lost 55 pounds.
I went from a size 14 to a size 8.
Their secret is Amberin, the revolutionary formula for women over 40 that balances hormones naturally. The leading cause of weight gain over 40 is hormonal imbalance. Until you balance your hormones, losing weight can be practically impossible. But Amberin restores hormonal balance naturally, so the weight can just fall right off, even that stubborn belly fat. Plus, Amberin eliminates other symptoms of hormonal aging, like hot flashes, night sweats, low libido, difficulty concentrating, and more. Be one of the first 50 callers right now, and they'll send you a complimentary risk-free trial with a 30-day supply. Free. Call 1-800-737-9107. That's 1-800-737-9107. 1-800-737-9107.
Congratulations to our friends at eFoodsDirect.com. In August, they celebrate 30 years in the long-term storable food business. To celebrate, eFoodsDirect.com is offering the lowest price ever on their 1-year Freedom Food Supply, even less than the price in 1981. For a limited time, you get 30% off a 1-year Freedom Supply, which provides 3 hearty meals per day for one adult. The Freedom Supply includes a large variety of fruits and vegetables, dairy, legumes, grains, sprouting seeds, and more. Plus, you get a generous supply of their quick fix meals. This is the most complete, extensive, and affordable unit they have ever offered. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex and get 30% off a 1-year food supply. If you have ever considered getting a supply, now is the time. Call 800-409-5633. That's 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Attention gardeners, this is an urgent GCN self-reliance update. GCN has just discovered a new bioactive superfood for garden plants, flowers, and herbs. It's called Proto-Grow, and it's so effective at producing rapid plant growth that it seems to almost force plants to grow like crazy under practically any soil and light conditions. Now, here's the best part for our listeners who garden for self-reliance. Proto-Grow's unique blend of C nutrients maximizes mineral uptake and dramatically increases bloom set, creating maximum plant growth in minimum time. Proto-Grow works by providing geometric keys, which have the capacity to actually unlock the genetic code for nutritional uptake in plants. Proto-Grow's full spectrum plant fertility means fruits and vegetables with extraordinary taste and up to 10 times the nutritional value. And if you want to double or triple the potency of herbs or wheatgrass, you can. If you want to grow nutritionalized superfoods with non-hybrids, it's now easy. GCN listeners who want to grow dirt cheap superfoods should visit the Proto-Grow website at growlikecrazy.com. That's www.growlikecrazy.com or call 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
All right, I've been ranting for 54 minutes. I apologize. I actually don't hate Rush Limbaugh. It upsets me to see him turned into just a complete vassal of the New World Order and so pathetic. And to see him over the years promote mandatory drug sentencing for young people caught with heroin or cocaine that the military-industrial complex ships in publicly, and then to still call for mandatory sentencing even though he's been caught with synthetic heroin. And I don't think he should get in trouble for his drug addiction problems. It's an addiction, it's a problem. But even after that, spot checking and listening, he still promotes mandatory drug war garbage. I mean, that is one evil piece of garbage right there. I'm sorry, that is just a sold-out blob of pus. All his money, all his power, getting off drug charges, doctor shopping over and over again, but he wants some 16-year-old kid caught with drugs to be thrown under the jail so that then that person comes out of prison, a hardcore criminal with 4 to 5 to 7 to 10 years of criminal education. You know, the media is all over the place saying, why is the gangster culture the new culture? Why are there so many kids raping and robbing and killing all over the Western world? Because Sumner Redstone and MTV and Hollywood sold it? And because kids that go to public schools get beat up by the gang members, so they join them out of fear? I didn't join them. I beat the living daylights out of them when I grew up in Dallas, but I was the exception. Most people got into it. There's a bunch of reports on that I'll get to later. Yes, America's culture is a prison culture. What do you think you learn at prison? How to be in the Aryan nations, how to be in the black group, the Hispanic groups. And what do the young middle-class kids learn how to do? They learn how to be punks. They grow up and MTV says you wear your pants down over your hind end to signify that the intelligentsia of this country is a sexual toy for someone with HIV in prison. That's what a sick joke America is in Europe, and that's the yuppie parents that are even bigger sick jokes, teaching their kids to go ahead and go along with it. Parents said, oh, that's too cool for you. That's too old for you. You can't dress like a prostitute when you're 10. You can't dress like a punk in a prison when you're 12. Instead of telling your kids, that's a psychological warfare television. That's a system there to destroy you and make you weak. You tell your kids that, they'll listen to you. But you act like a bunch of chicken neck parents out there. You wonder why you've lost your children? Because you're not men and you're not women. You're a bunch of TV heads that repeat whatever's programmed into you. And it's time to break it. Time to break your conditioning right now. We got a lot of hope, but you got to get angry first.